sweating.
Ronnie Moore, an ever-present face of the Football League for 46 years overall.
Good start.
Good start.
Impressed with that.
That's the best research you've done for a solid 6 weeks, isn't it?
That's it, done.
It does make you feel old, doesn't it? Bloody hell. Thanks for coming. No, but seriously, thanks for coming.
Yeah, cheers.
First manager. Well, Mick Rathbone.
Yeah, Mick.
Yeah, mate.
Had a spell, didn't he?
Yeah, but his first...
We got it right then. First managerial. Sorry, Mick.
So, I mean, in terms of the management, what, Tranmere, Rotherham, Oldham, so, like, regarded as Hartlepool, the Great Escape, regarded as a legend, I'd say, at many of them clubs.
I know, I mean, it's nice when you go... I mean, Rotherham United, obviously, I played for as well.
I was reading regarded as Rotherham's greatest ever player.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
No.
There's a lot of good players there, isn't there, when you look back at it. And manager as well, by the way.
There was Sejum Pope is in them and all, by the way. Don't forget, isn't it?
Yeah, says he's about 300 behind. And Pope's not even on the chart. No, but they're good clubs. I mean, like I say, it always helps to think when you've played for them and you do reasonably well. When you go back as a manager, you get a little bit extra. When things go wrong, they just tend to give it a little bit more time. Tranmere was the same. I mean, I look back at Tranmere. God, when you look 1971, you're talking about really when I first started playing, and that was the first club I had. I was an amateur at the time. Then turned pro. My first pro contract was in 1973 for 20 quid. So it's not bad, was it?
But at all. Were you a butcher's boy?
Yeah, you've done well there.
Tell you what,
He's took his criticism on board, hasn't he?
Yeah, a place called Alliance Cash and Carry it's not there now, in Highton in Liverpool, where I'm from. And I was an apprentice. Really, I had the chance. I was at Everton, as a schoolboy, 14, to just turned 16. I was promised an apprenticeship at Everton, but in the meantime, during that time, my mum died. She had cancer and died when I was just coming up to 16.
Right.
So it sort of sent me down the wrong road, really. So from being steady Eddie, and contract was there, to be an apprentice at Everton, I was staying out on a Friday night. I was going to clubs.
Knock you off the tracks.
Total turnaround, looking for a scrap everywhere you went, which wasn't very nice when you think, on the bus looking for an argument, coming back from a club in Liverpool.
Were you a bit of a scrapper? Could you handle yourself?
Well, I was just angry then, it was
understandable though.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, look back now, and it's just one of them things. It is hard to handle when something like that out the blue just sort of happens, and it basically knackered that apprenticeship that I had at Everton went through the window. So that's why I ended up being an apprentice butcher at this Alliance Cash and Carry in Liverpool, or in Highton in Liverpool.
Can you still handle a piece of meat?
Yeah,
First up on a Sunday.
Once you get into it, I mean, it's easy enough to do. I mean, you don't have to. It's not rocket science.
He's licking his lips over there.
Yeah, you've not fetched any.
You're inviting you round on Sunday.
You've not fetched any state, have you, Ron?
Yeah, you've got to be careful as a butcher, though. That knife slips has happened 2 or 3 times. It's gone straight through my thumb and had 8 stitches in it. You don't even know you've cut it. When you're cutting into the meat, it's ridiculous. It slides off the bone and goes straight through. And there was blood everywhere, and I thought, sometimes you can burst a vessel in the meat when you're cutting it, and there's blood all over it, and I thought, there's a lot of blood there. And then I looked at my hand, and it was like a big smiley face on my thumb. It was just pumping blood everywhere, so I had to order up, go to hospital, got about 7 or 8 stitches in that. Come back about 3 weeks later, slipped off the bone and stuck it in my leg. So I got 2 stitches. So I don't think that apprenticeship butcher was there. I'd have probably ended up killing myself and setting my throat there.
You probably wouldn't be here, would you?
No. So probably done me a favour.
No, so were you still playing part time when you were?
Yeah, I was actually playing Sunday football, really. Saturday, Sunday. Played for a youth club, a club called St John's in Highton. Played for them. I mean, Peter Reid was round that way. Him and his Sean Reid. You know, they're all from round that way. We used to play Saturday, Sunday. And I was lucky enough, really, probably 12 months after I'd got the elbow from Everton. I was playing in a game for a pub called the Eighton Park in Eighton, believe it or not. But and I played, scored. A lad that invited me for trials at Tranmere. So I went over and had some trials, scored 3 in the trial game. So that's when they first offered me amateur forms. The only thing in them days was, obviously, I was working, you know, at 16, working. So I had to go and see the boss at this Alliance Cash and Carry as a butcher. And to be fair, he was top drawer, because a lot of managers of the warehouse would have probably said, no, you can't go, because I had to leave at 4 o'clock. Because it's not like now where everyone drops you off and your mum and dad takes you here, there and everywhere. I mean, I had to leave at 4 o'clock, get a bus outside where I was to Liverpool, get the ferry across the Mersey to Birkenhead, get a bus from Birkenhead to the Oval where we trained. We trained at 6 o'clock and do the same thing coming back. So I was getting in about 10:30 at night. So, and this was on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So, I mean, I've got to thank him a lot as well for John Edge, his name was.
For letting you do it? For letting
me doing it, yeah, because, you know, it's not easy when you need that much time. So I was lucky, really. So I've got him a lot to thank him, really, for really getting on the professional path again.
Yeah. Well, you can lead in with that question.
It's like my fucking one, would that?
So when you went back in professionally, did you know then that it was a priority and you wanted to get your focus?
Yeah, I think without doubt. I mean, you do realise,
sick of nearly cutting your thumb off.
Well, yeah, right, I thought if I carried on doing that butcher's job, I wouldn't be here. So I thought, no, but I mean, once you get the second opportunity, you're not going to let it go. You know, straight away. You know, I was in, I did the right things. I mean, it was only as an amateur then, but I made sure that I wasn't out on a Friday before the game was on a Saturday. You know, and then I was very fortunate that a guy called Jackie Wright was in charge of Tranmere at the time. And in that first year as an amateur, I was on the bench. He put me on the bench, which is very rare that an amateur at them days were involved with first team football. So, you know, that was the start, really. And I eventually then turned pro when I was in 1973. And, you know, at Tranmere, first game, all the shot away. I was centre forward and he played me centre midfield. I thought, what's he doing here? You know, I don't know what he's seen in me, in playing me in that position, but he did. I mean, I went and played. I actually played centre midfield with Mark Palios, who's now the chairman at Tranmere.
Was he in the FA?
Yeah, he was the head of the FA, wasn't he? But he made his debut at the same time as me in that game at Aldershot, and we were the two midfield players. But I didn't last too long in that midfield area. I mean, all I knew when I was playing there, I mean, I was a centre forward, I just wanted to get forward. So, I mean, how we ended up drawing 0-0, I'll never know, because I was never in a position where I could help out defensively. But
have you ever played out of position?
We nicked a 0-0.
Yeah, for about 6 minutes away at West Brom.
What, on the wing, like?
I played left wing, yeah.
Shut up.
All I did was run up and down. They were a turret. All I did was just run in a straight line for 6 minutes. I got on a sub as well. Went on a sub. We had someone sent off, Tony Pulis Park. He asked us to come out on this left wing for us. I lasted fucking 17 minutes of the game.
We once played Arsenal in the Premier League.
Oh, fucking
just going to take it up a notch.
You didn't know. I once played in the Premier League. Arsenal.
Kevin Ball was manager, and he ended up playing us on the right wing. All right. So before the game, obviously waiting for the team sheets, waiting for Ashley Cole. Please don't be playing. It's like buzzing. Gail Cleachy. I'm older than him. I'll just get at him and
bully him.
Yeah, bully him a little bit. He's only small, isn't he? Honestly, it was the worst 90 minutes of my life. Didn't know what I was doing.
You lasted the whole game?
Lasted the whole game. Didn't know, positional awareness out the window. So I thought, right, I need to have some kind of impact on the game. So I turned into a tough tackling winger, just going around kicking people, right? Jens Lehmann was in goal. I must have clattered into him about 5 times. Obviously, he's got us by the neck at one point, and after the game, Gary Breen was speaking to him about it, and he said Thierry Henry was just stood with his hands on his hips going, "What is this Brown doing? what is this Brown doing?"
Translator.
Yeah. What is this? Because I was just going around clattering people.
Was he Irish? Yeah.
So yeah, last time I ever played right wing.
First and last.
Right wing.
Did you go to Chicago for a year?
No, not for a year. It was for the summer.
Right.
Bill Foulkes was the manager of Chicago Sting at the time, and he was big mates with Johnny King, who was the manager at Tranmere at the time. And he's looking for a centre forward and a centre midfield player. And so
You
got both.
Both in one.
I should have said that too, shouldn't I? But myself and Bobby Tynan went over for 3 months, which was fantastic, really.
How old are you then?
Testing now, 23, probably, something like that. Was married as well, so
like
missus and kids went over. First game, New York Cosmos. Pele played in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Played against Pele?
And we won 2-1 and I scored. So
clean.
there you go.
He's just trumped us there, hasn't
I
he?
just want to drop that Pele in.
You can fuck your Jens Lehmann off all over.
I'd scored a winning goal as well, by the way. Just,
I've definitely been doing that.
There was only, I think, 100,000 on as well. So.
Did Pele have anything to say about your performance?
He said how good I was. He couldn't believe that I was outstanding. Did you play for Tranmere? I went, yeah. Trying to get a shirt, though, you should have seen them. There must have been, everybody was after it. I don't know who got it, but I tried like mad to nick it, but I couldn't get it. I mean, it would have been fantastic to have got it. But it was brilliant for the likes of me and Bobby Tynan coming from Tranmere, going over to play in that American league. So I think I played about 20 games for them. I had Earl the record over there. One, I don't know whether it's still. I don't think it is now because I got 5 goals against Vancouver Whitecaps.
Did you?
In a game over there, which was a record, but I'm not too sure whether it still stands as 5 or whether somebody must have beaten that by now. I would imagine.
That I think everybody wants to hear about the managerial side of things, but that Rotherham team, that 81 team that you're involved in, consecutive promotions, was that a good bond in that team?
It was a great team, to be fair. When you look at Ian Porterfield was a manager when I went in there. I mean, fantastic. I mean, obviously you know I mean, the stuff he knew then, it was years ahead of his of his age, if you're or that era. What's the word I'm looking for? But for that era, he was street ahead. You know, he was like. Some of the sessions,
revolutionary.
And the sessions he put on were fantastic, and you know he was a winner, and he just, to go and get promotion like that in that 80-81 year. Rod Fern played in that team. Old Fernie used to be at Leicester. I mean, going back a few years now, so a lot of people probably won't recognise him. But we had a good squad, a solid squad of players who socialised because. In them days, it was all about socialising, wasn't it? Yeah. It was...
Were you have a drink with the fans and stuff after the game?
Always. When I was a player and when I was a manager. So, I mean,
You carried that through? Yeah,
all the time. And they were good, the crowd, and probably because we did well. I mean, if you're losing every week, I don't think I'd be going having a pint with too many, would I? It'd be one of them. But never wanted for any Yale, if I was having a beer. But that 1981, 80-81 team, when we won the championship, it was just that togetherness. We'd be out straight after training on a Tuesday, off Wednesday, so we'd all be out having a few beers into a club in town. I was in digs with Tony Towner and John Seasman in Sheffield, and we used to all meet on a Wednesday, out into town on a Wednesday, train Thursday. Have a couple of beers on Friday, nick into a club every now and then on a Friday. Get in. I was once late, we were out, we said, come on, we'll just go and have a couple of sherbets, not too many on a Friday. I think we were playing Halifax or somebody on the, was it Halifax or Colchester? It was Colchester, I think. So we went out and had a couple of drinks, and one drink went to 2 drinks, and then you're thinking, it's time to go. Then a load of birds come in. And,
Is this local?
Yeah.
It's in Rotherham?
This was we were in digs in Sheffield, so it was in Sheffield. So and then we ended up in a place called Josephine's in Sheffield. Then went back to a party. And then got in about 3:00. Went in thinking, we're all like, "Whoa, what have we done? This is ridiculous. If this gets out, we're going to be in big trouble." And I scored 2, and we won 3-0. So if everyone ever says don't go out for a drink on a Friday,
is that the story you tell your players?
yeah, don't you dare. I'm telling them not to have a beer, and I've done that. But it was only the once.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, sometimes you can get. I mean, now they don't even go near it, do they? It's not part and parcel as it used to be. I mean, we used to have beers on the bus when I was a manager. If we won, we'd always stop and get some beers on. Never put them on before, just in case, tempting fate. But if we got a result, you used to always pull up and stop and have a few drinks. And we had good social sides and good players at Tranmere and at Rotherham then.
There can't be many managers that do. Is there any managers that you've heard of that do that anymore?
Not really, no.
Good result, stop off?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, not many, but, I mean, obviously Gary Mills did it before. On the Friday, which spoke about my book, which has not gone down very well. But same as that, I once got fucking sucked in on a Friday and played Dover the next day. We drew 2-2, which we were second bottom of the league. They were second in the league. Drew 2-2, which is a great result, and I scored. So I agree with Ronnie.
You had a good relationship with the fans at Rotherham. I was reading about the policeman's hat.
Yeah, that was. I mean, if I did it now, I'd probably get fined by the FA for it, which is ridiculous, really. I mean, because I used to like it a lot. I mean, when the crowd used to shout on, yeah, boy, you're having a nightmare, I used to say, "You're right, mate, I am, I'm stinking." And then all his mates would laugh at him, whereas if I had turned around to him and says, "Sod off," or "Piss off," or whatever, they'd have all been going, "Whoa," and so they're on me, so they're on his back instead of mine.
Yeah.
Bit of reverse psychology.
Yeah, just get it into. And it used to work all the time. And Barnsley, nearly every time we played against Barnsley, I scored in the games. So they hated me anyway when we were at Barnsley. And in them days, I used to have police walk around the pitch. And someone's had a shot. It wasn't me, by the way, but someone's had a shot. It's hit the copper as he's walked past. So as he's come behind the goal, it hits him and knocked him out or onto the floor, and his hat fell off, this copper's hat. So me being me, I've gone over and put this copper's hat on and just done a little jig in front of it. And then the next time I went to Barnsley, the song come out that Ronnie Moore's a wanker, he wears a wanker's hat. And when he turns it upside down, he looks an effing... And every time I went to Barnsley after that, that was the song. And even on Twitter now, when Barnsley lads come on, they all keep saying, "How's your hat, mate? Have you still got your hat?"
There was a few people yesterday saying it. I didn't know what they're on about, but...
They're a great bunch, them Barnsley fans, Great
so
bunch.
That's what it was about. Yeah, that's where it come from, that.
Towards the end of your playing career, you straight into assistant manager while still playing. Were you fixed? I'm going to be a manager.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, like a lot of people, I think who at the time, I didn't actually think I'm going to be a manager when I was a player. It's just when you're coming towards the end of your playing days, you sort of think, well, where am I going to go? Definitely not going back to butchering. That's for sure. That one's gone out the window. So I think sometimes the natural progression is I did my coaching badges. Then I was caretaker manager for about 3 months and I thought I quite like this. It's something. Then Johnny King came back, who'd been my manager in the early years. He come back to Tranmere and he asked me. I was still player coach with Johnny King. Then one day, I'd had a mare, I can't remember what it was, but after the game, on the bus, and he shouted me down, and he went, "Big man, come here." He went, "I think it's about time you put your boots away." I went, "What, Gaffer?" Yeah, he says, "I'm just thinking, I think you're just about right now to be assistant manager. I think you need to bin them boots."
How old were you at this point?
I was 40.
Oh, Jesus.
No. I was 37. Yeah, so it was just about right, you know what I mean? I was just about ready for it. But he was a fantastic manager. I mean, the things that he did at Tranmere, Johnny King, I mean, you look at the promotions he got. I was just saying before about we actually went to Wembley 4 times in a calendar year while we were at Tranmere Rovers. I mean, that takes some doing, really. All right, someone will say to Mickey Mouse Cup, Leyland Daft, but it was a playoff, then a Leyland Daft, then a playoff and a Leyland Daft, or the other way around, whichever one came first. And that was all in that year. And we won one playoff and lost the Leyland Daft. Then we won the Leyland Daft and lost the playoff. So it's but to do that, and then basically when I was assistant manager to him, we got to the playoffs. I think it was 4 or 5 seasons on the trot to get to the Premier League, and just couldn't.
Forget how close that Tranmere were, you know, like where they are now.
Yeah, and that's how close
to
they
the
were.
Premier League.
Yeah, you know, it
3
was,
or 4 playoff seasons on the trot.
to get to the Premier, which was a sickener, really, because I mean, he was a great manager, King. He was a good manager. When I say he used to know how to handle people, good coach as well. But he used to let me get on, which I enjoyed, because you know when you go as assistant manager, you think, here we go, innit? I mean, Gaffer's going to do everything. I'm still about just leaning on him, really. But he used to just say, you know, he'd say to me, I want you to do some crossing today, or some shooting, or turning, or whatever. And then I just do the sessions and go out and do them, which was nice because he had trust in you and let you do it.
Did you learn a lot from him from when you went into management? Yeah,
I mean, because in them days when I was manager, I mean it's completely different now to the way the management is this present time. But you know, he when we were away on a Friday night, he used to say to me, "Take the lads away from here. They can have 2 pints, no more." And honestly, and it sounds like we're talking about a pint thing, football, blah, blah, blah. But it was just the way they were, you know. And to be fair, everybody used to just go and have the couple of pints, no problem. Some only had one. I'd try and bring it back, and I'd always turn around, "Where's Nico?" Eric Nixon. So we could never find him. So we've all come out, and he's having another beer at things. So he'd end up having 4 or 5, Nico. Mind you, he was 7 foot, so I mean 4 or 5 pints. But he used to be the one that we had to try and drag out.
There's always
one, yeah. You know, it's probably Parker was one of that. But there's always somebody there, and it used to be Nico. But you know, he was good that way in his management of the players. I mean, you wouldn't get away with that. But at that time, everybody was doing it. So it's not like now where if you were letting lads go out for a beer, you ain't going to be able to compete, are you?
Yeah. That's the thing. We've spoken about it loads of times. If it's going well and it gets out that the players had a couple of pints before a win, it's completely fine. If you lose, you're getting, which shouldn't be like that. I don't think.
No, it shouldn't. But you're right.
Trust the manager and
yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose it's what comes from the journalist and social media and everything.
Well, yeah, you've got no chance.
You're not just being judged by the papers. You know, you're being judged by everybody, and everybody's got a voice, haven't they, to put it out there. It's not just blokes talking in the pub.
So how did you end up going into management then?
Well, it's funny really, because I mean I had that job as assistant manager, got to like it. My first job was Southport. In the National League, you know, Charlie Clapham, who's the chairman there. He was the chairman there until just recently. I think it's only this year or last season he packed in from there. So he asked me did I fancy being manager of Southport? Because I thought, well, why not? You know, I mean, Kingy just had the sack. He was away, so I was still. I mean, Kingy got the sack after probably 9 years. That you had a great 9-year spell, which doesn't happen now, does it? But you know, then I'm thinking, well, I think I'm about right to go, because I think Aldo would come in, who took over from Kingy, I'm sure it was.
Did you have a bit of time with Aldridge?
Yeah, I had. See, Aldo, I mean, obviously, some of the players that Tranmere brought in with Kingy, I mean, John Aldridge, Pat Nevin, you know, come in and played. Aldo was fantastic. I mean, what a goal scorer he was. And we had one or two little fallouts because, I mean, I remember saying to him once at half time, Aldo, you're going to have to shift your arse, mate, and get in them, chase some of them channel balls. He went, I ain't chasing channel balls. He went, I ain't doing that. He went, I'm a goal scorer. I ain't scoring goals. I'm chasing that. So
man after me own heart.
So he got right bottom lip out and had a pop at me, and then had a pop to Kingy on the Monday. Tell him I'm not chasing, and that's basically why he got so many goals. You know, but he was fantastic when you look at him at. But he'd come in and he said I was sort of Kingy's man and whatever, which happens in football. We're not daft. He obviously had people who was going to bring in himself. But I stayed there for probably 2 or 3 months, and then I thought, well, I'll get fed up of putting cones out and all that stuff. You know, when you've been sort of taking the sessions and whatever. So you know, this Southport job was tailor-made really for me to go in there. And to be fair to Charlie, Rotherham showed an interest. After I think it was 3 months I'd been there, showed an interest basically because they'd had a vote or something in Rotherham with the Rotherham Advertiser of who they wanted in as next manager. Yeah. You know, and I was an overwhelming one to come in. You know, and it said obviously being with Kingy and what Kingy had achieved in that time, and I was part of that, probably helped me really to get that Rotherham job.
How many votes did you submit for yourself? Get the family involved in that.
I can't remember.
It was writing one man for the letter.
Yeah. Bloody hell. So, but it was, to be fair to Charlie Clapham, I mean, he was after compensation, obviously, because I'd signed there. And I just said, Charlie, come on, mate. You know, I'll get you a couple of beers here or whatever. Let me go. I mean, it's a dream job for me to go back. And to be fair, he did. You know, he sacrificed. And I said, what I'll do, we'll bring Rotherham for a game every while I'm there. We'll come and have a game every pre-season. So you know, that was part and parcel of the deal, and he let me go there.
What league were Rotherham in at this point?
They were fourth division then. The old, you know, the old
League 2 now, is it?
Yeah.
8 successful years at Rotherham.
I mean, when you say successful, the first year I went in there, you know, it was unbelievable. The pressure you felt under, you know.
Is that the first time you felt? Cause, So, no disrespect to Southport, but Southport being in non-league, and then now you're at your club.
Especially when you've played there and the fans have taken to you, and you're thinking, I don't want to mess this up here. You know what I mean?
Especially after all them votes in paper as
I
well.
mean, and it just if you're not careful, it can really take over. Because you're thinking, because they had a sort of meet Ronnie Moore in one of it had to be a social club, didn't it? But it was in the place on the Friday night, which was absolutely chocker. Then we went to the place called The Zone, where they did that, where all the fans come in and ask questions and get together. I mean, it was brilliant, the welcome I got back there. So the first year, like always, is trying to consolidate and trying to get players in and finding out what the players were like that were there already. And I think then the second year we lost out in the semi-final, I think, in the playoffs. And then we got back-to-back promotions, which you know, which was great really, because you look at it and then when you get into that League One and then get into the Championship, because I mean halfway through that year when we were in League One, I remember saying to John Brecker, we're not careful here, we're going to go up again. I mean, we were like, every time we were playing we were winning, we're thinking, hold on a minute here, you know.
Were you getting support from the board? Were you getting a bit of money to spend, or was it just shoestring?
No, I think, well, it was a shoestring, but it was still decent money for
that level.
I mean, you know,
competitive.
Ken Booth, who was a chairman there, everybody, you know, gave him so much stick, which really was unwarranted, because every time I went to him and asked for money, you know, he never said no, as long as it was. I remember going to him to get a lad called Alan Lee.
Big Al.
Yeah, from Burnley. We took him on loan. Stan Turnett was the manager at Burnley at the time. So we took him on loan. He'd come, did really well. And I went back to Stan. I said, can we take him again? He went, there's £5,000 loan fee. I went, what? He went, yeah, we've decided we're coming out with loan fees now, only because he'd scored 5 or 6 goals while he'd been there. And he was never going to figure at Burnley with Stan. So I said, well, how much you want for him then? If you're messing about on $5,000 for a loan fee, what's the figure you're looking for? He went, 100 grand. I went, you're not going to get 100 grand for him, no way. He went, well, that's what it'll be. So I thought, rather than mess about, I went back and spoke to the chairman. I went to Ken, typical scrap man. You know, he's side on and wellies on and whatever. You know, it's and I just said to him, look, we can have him. We've got to pay $5,000 now to take him on loan, or we can pay 100 grand. And he get, what? 100 grand? He went, will we make money on him then? Do you think we'll make money on him? And I'd have said, yeah, anyway, if you want, you know what I mean? Just to get him in. I went, yeah, chairman, no problem. Yeah, we'll make money on him. So we bought him for 100 grand, and then we sold him for 1.3 million. So
he was happy then.
So the chairman made a lot of money. I never got a drink out of that. Yeah.
I spoke to Sedgy this morning, and he said ask him about Alan Lee, because he absolutely loved him. He said people think I was the teacher's pet, but it was Alan Lee. So he says. They say
Sedgy, they say Alan Lee, they say Mike Pollitt.
Pollitt, yeah.
So, you know, they're not far off with the three of them, because they all did well. If they do well for you, then you tend to be on their side a little bit, don't you? Yeah. And they were good 3 players, that's for sure. Them. What was
the story about Polly on the coach?
Yeah, when he still denies it, shitting on the coach.
It was Polly.
Do you know what? He's rang Sedge up, because obviously Sedge talked about it on the podcast. He's rang Sedge up and went, Chris, I'm going to have to do you for slander. I'm going to have to sue you. It wasn't me. Sedge's narrowed it down to 2, Pollitt and I can't think of the other fella's name. And they're both just denying it. And they've both come so far saying that it wasn't them, they can't go back. But Polly wasn't happy.
Well, if I was a gambling man, I would say it's Polly. Definitely.
What happened for those who haven't heard the Sedge episode?
Did he wipe his
shit on the butts, did he? Did he wipe his ass on the towel?
Yeah, on the towel. Yeah.
Well, then did you go in after?
He should have just thrown the towel out, shouldn't he? Or took it out.
Or did he leave it? He left it in the...
Yeah.
You didn't wipe your hands on it?
No. No, it was not honest. No, but it was just we wanted to know what's to find him.
Yeah.
So we never actually got to who it was. But I've always thought it was Polly. No. Polly, if I'm wrong, mate, I apologise. Tell me the truth now.
He liked to drink though, Big Al, didn't he? Big Alan Lee liked to drink.
He loved to drink, and he could play the guitar. He used to bring the guitar on the bus, and when we'd had a decent result and wherever, you know, he's an Irish lad, and he knew all the Irish songs and wherever, and he'd play this guitar, and after he'd had a decent win and a few beers, and all the bus were singing on the way back. When we went away, you know, he used to be Magaluf or wherever in them days. Everyone went to Magaluf, didn't they? But he used to be on the beach, the same thing, with a few beers. Everybody sat round, which was good, because I mean, myself and John Brecken, he was my assistant. You know, we were with him. You know, we used to sit and have a few beers with him. Then you look and think it's about time we got off here. There's going to be things
we don't want to see here.
Something's going to happen here, so I think it's about time we moved on, innit?
Do you know, like, it was obviously laid back with the players, and you had that relationship with them. Did anybody ever cross the line in terms of took the piss? With the boozing and stuff.
To be honest, they were decent lads. There was no one where I had to actually nail or find 2 weeks or shoo him out the club. I think they knew how far they could go. Because as a manager, I was laid back with the way I went with them. But they knew once they'd stepped out of line, then I'd batter them. I'd come down, you know, with an iron fist, really. And we've had some good lads. We've had some bad uns, and you know, the good lads are brilliant, but it's how you handle the mouthy ones, if you like, and the ones who tend to go just over. You have to pull them in. Like Guy Branston was an example. You know, Guy. You always wanted Guy on your side, because he was man mountain. He was, you know, and in the end he was a baby, really, because he would be angry And then he could, you know, I just knew how to get round him, and he'd just cool himself down, because when he was angry, he was an angry man. And I used to say to Breck, who was my assistant, Breck, I'm leaving Branston out this week. Do me a favour, go and tell him. Breck used to go, fucking hell, Gaffer, do I have to? I went, no, I'm only kidding, but a guy, like, he was physically strong, and it was never his fault. You know, I think we were at Wolves or someone like that we were playing. And at half time, and he's walked down at Millmore, old Millmore, down to where they used to come out right in the bottom corner there. And him and the lad were having a go at each other, and his fourth official's waiting at the tunnel to go in. And Brano leans over after this lad and bangs him right in front of the fourth official. So I'm giving the team talk at half time, bum bum bum. Referee comes banging on the door. Your number 6, he's off, red carded. What? What for? He's punched the lad in the tuck. Brano, come here. Have you punched? Gaffer, I never touched him. I swear I've never touched him. Brano, you lying bastard. I didn't touch him. Then you look at the video. The video's got him all the way into the thing. Bang, straight right. 2 weeks' wages. It's like, what are you doing? We were right in, was it Magaluf? It might have been Greece. And we were at the bar, me and Breck, having a beer with the lads. And Brano was stood by the side, and there's 3 or 4 lads trying to push in front of Brano. So he's waited, and then this lad, it was 4 lads actually, because the more I think about it now. So the lad nips in front of him, and Brano says, "Oi! It's my shout. I've been waiting here, never mind." And they did a few, and they were taking the mickey really out of Brano, and we were just on the side, me and Breck, and I thought, something's going to be murder here. You can just see it's going to kick off here. So the lads sort of had a go at Brano, and he went, look, and the lads sort of thumped him, and he caught him on his arm, and he went, "Is that your best shot, mate?" to him. And the lad went, "What?" And he's turned around, and I'm not kidding you, the 4, he's banged one, then the others have come over, and the 4 of them are on the floor, flat out, in like 30 seconds. So I went to Breck, "Come on, mate, we haven't seen that, let's get out of here." I'm not kidding you, it was unbelievable. He's just decked the 4 of them, big lads, not little lads, bang, all over trying to beat him into the queue for a beer.
Them trips away, because we've heard on a few of the episodes from different players of, you know, sneaking out, maybe having a few more than they should be having. So, from a manager's perspective, are you aware that there might be a few more drinks going on?
So pre-season trips, you know, like if you go away pre-season, you're like, lads, you can have a night out at the end, but a couple of lads sneak out earlier in the week and all that. And, I mean, we had one where in wherever we went, and we went out all 4 nights, didn't we? We were only allowed out the last night. We never knew if the manager knew that we'd been out or not.
Yeah, well, you do know. I mean, you know if there's any trouble anyway, that comes back faster than anything, doesn't it? But, you know, when they're grown up, you trust them sometimes, and someone's always going to go above what they should do or go behind your back, aren't they? And if you know about it, it's how you handle it. I've been quite lucky in you know, I've never really had to hammer anybody. Brano, obviously, for that. Brano nearly all the time, if anything, in them days. You know, because he got nicked in town on a Saturday night, and he was thrown into the old Black Maria then and locked up, you know, which he thought I knew nothing about. But the CCTV in the police had phoned me on the Monday to say, look, one of your players is involved in, as if they're not going to know that, the police are going to ring and say. Yeah. And same thing again to Brano. Saturday? Yeah. Anything? You got anything to tell me? No. What about the nick? And what about this, that and the other? It was like... How do you know that? How did that? Because he's been on the CCTV, he's got you all over town. Where he's had a scrap with somebody, had a scrap with somebody else in the club. But you could only love him, you know what I mean? When he turned out for you on a Saturday, he's the first one who'd run through the brick wall for you. Absolutely give you everything. I mean, we were at Hull City one season, and he got sent off. And that was, it only happened once. Every time someone else got sent off, I used to send somebody with them just to make sure. But at Hull, in that old Boothry Park, they had one of these. You remember the old windows where there's like a door and there's 4 windows. It's like a cross, and there's 4 panes in it, and they put this like very thin wooden cover over it, so it looked like if you can imagine, it looks like a full door, and it's got referee's name on the referee room on there. So Brano gets sent off, and he come to sit. I went, no, get out, go on. You've let us down, blah blah blah. So he's walked down a tunnel, and as he's gone past the referee's thing, he's thought, he's come back and he's punched it. So he's punched this door thinking it's a door, but he's actually gone through because it's only like 1/4 inch thick, the wood. He's gone through the wood and straight through the pane of glass that was the other side that he didn't know was there. Because it just looks like a normal thing with referee's room on it. He's gone bang, gone through, and he's split the vein in his arm here that's pumping like mad. So he's on the floor. So just by chance, someone was walking through there, and he's come to the physio. He went, hey, that lad has just been sent off. He's on the floor in there, blood everywhere. So it's like physio goes, Dennis goes bombing in to see what's happening, and like I say, he's punched it, and he'd severed all the things here, and he had to have his arm up and onto the hospital. He was out for about 5 or 6 weeks with it. Could have killed himself if it had gone straight across. Jeez. But nowadays, you can imagine health and safety on that now. Yeah. You know, why have you covered them? The windows and it was ridiculous.
Did you have to fine him as well?
Well, he got fined, which was harsh, really, wasn't it? But you just got to try and treat them the right way, innit?
I think that's our next guest sorted anyway, Branston.
Yeah.
Feisty one.
Brano was, But like I say to you, he'd run through the brick wall for you, Brano. Honest as the day is long.
Who else was in that? Leo Fortune West, was he?
Yeah, Leo Fortune West was striker who came in. I mean, big lad, 6'3", all left foot really. He did well for me. You know, we had to go to Ron Nodes and to sign him. 25 grand we wanted for him. So I had to go and see my chairman and ask, you know, can we 25? Yeah, go on. Yeah, will we make money on him? I went, well, I'm not too sure about this one. I'm not too sure about this one, but you never know. To be fair, I mean, he came in and he was brilliant. Absolutely, did brilliant for us. He, like I say, all left foot. But John Breck, when he first came in, I had to do some business, so I couldn't go up to the training ground that day. So Breck took the training, and he'd come back and he went, "Fucking hell, Gaffer, I think we've made a rick here." I was like, "What?" He went, "Oh, he couldn't hit a barn door. he couldn't trap a bag of cement." I went, "Oh, fuck's sake." So, and it was true. He in training, he was probably the worst. In fact, it was that bad. You know, you used to have the yellow bib and the yellow shirt in the worst trainer or whatever. We actually put on it, "I've had a Leo." So it wasn't a nightmare. So we got the yellow shirt, "I had a Leo." But he got some goals for us, and we bought him in for 25 grand. But when I spoke to Ron Nodes about it, I went, "Look, you know we're struggling, isn't we? We haven't got that much." I said, Can you do it like the catalogue?" And he went, "What?" I went, "Well, £5 a month or 5 grand down and an instalments for Leo." And to be fair to Nosey, he went, "Yeah, go on then." He says, "I don't do that often, but it's only 25 grand. So we sort of paid 5 grand there, 4 grand there, till we could eventually, till our chairman paid it off. But he went, so we got him in for 25 and we sold him for 300 grand at Cardiff. Because I remember saying to Breck, I said, "Yeah, we've just had an offer for Leo." He went, "What?" I went,
"You what?"
I went, "Yeah." He went, I said to him, "Would he take 150 grand?" He went, "I'll drive him down there."
Get me keys.
And yet he was brilliant for us. You know, he did. If you look at his goals and whatever, and when I said like it's 300 grand, they couldn't believe it. But he actually, you know, he bettered himself. You know, I thought
he did well at Cardiff, didn't he? He went
did,
well.
And he was a handful.
Yeah.
You know, 6'3", elbows, knock you about, and his touch wasn't brilliant. You know, lads used to mock about it, saying his second touch always a tackle, this, that, and the other. But for someone to lead the line, you know, in them days when everybody had one, it was fantastic, really. I mean, and to get money for him is an extra bonus for the chairman. That's another one I never got a drink from now.
I think he used to, I think it might have been Pele in goal. He used to, obviously, Leo being a striker, if he hit one out of play, Pele, the goalkeeper, bad goal kick or whatever, he used to run the length of the pitch and give him
stick.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Leo did. Yeah. And when he used to wear glasses, you know, because we were going to a game once and I was in the front and I turned round and it was, who had the glasses on now? Let me get it right. Leo was one of them. Oh, Leo and Glover, Lee Glover. Striker. So the two of them were like three behind me. So I've turned round and I thought, so I said to Breck, don't make it obvious, but have a look behind us here. Have you seen our two strikers behind us? So he's turned around and the two of them are sat there with these, both got a pair of glasses on. I went, oh, fucking chance of me scoring a goal with these two here. And they both did really well, to be fair. Gloves was a decent finisher, good touch. So
yeah, going on the Friday, because I was Donny with him. So Dave Penny used to make us pick teams, you know, for the five side. And Leo would just take himself off and kick the ball around in the goal and that, and then come right, knowing that he was going to be last pick. Right, in my whiff today, just get his bib and stick it on. Lads used to talk. Nah, he used to take it well, but he
had that lisp when he spoke, didn't he? He was like
Chris Eubank, innit?
Yeah, he was like that. Yeah, that's what he's like. He lives in Sheffield still. I've seen him every now and then walking across. He's been a good lad. Him.
A few, we've got to mention it because a few of the fans, Rotherham fans, brought it up on Twitter. The Ipswich affair. So was it you weren't anything to do with it? Was it?
That wasn't me. No.
Tim Swallows over here.
Well, they say it was a hoax, don't they? But I know that Rotherham issued a statement saying that there's no way I was leaving the club. They were getting no permission to speak to me. So if it's a hoax, that thing doesn't normally come out, does it?
What was the story? What happened? It
was basically apparently somebody had phoned the club on the Friday. It was supposed to be Sheepshank was the chairman at Ipswich then. It was supposed to be him who had spoken to Phil Ensign, who was our chief exec. And I only found out in the morning. Someone phoned me and said, Ipswich have been here for you, you know, and whatever. And I thought, what? And it was on Sky that Ipswich had shown an interest in me going there. And at the time, you know, you looked at Ipswich and, I mean, decent club. But I've been at Rotherham all that time where you're thinking, you know, is it time for a move? Is it time to move on? Because sooner or later, something's going to go tits up and something might happen. So I asked the club, I said, look, if you have been on, can I have permission just to speak and see what it actually is and what's going on? And Phil Ensign said no, you can't speak to them. They're not having permission. So, but it went out publicly that some guy then phoned up, said it wasn't the chairman, it was me who was doing it, but never given him a name. It's a hoax. It's nothing to do with that. So I'm like stood in the middle thinking, what's going on here? So I've never ever to this day found out, was it a hoax? You know, was it really Ipswich who wanted us? But I always think back and say, why did the football club issue a statement saying that, you know, I can't speak to them, they haven't got permission to speak to me? And you know what it's like in football. If they'd really wanted you, surely somebody would have got in touch with me anyway. Because that's what happens, isn't it? I mean, it's not supposed to happen, and we know that. But in football, there's ways and means of somebody letting you know, you know what's going on. So from this day though, it's a complete mystery. I mean, it was handled so weird. You know, I'd just come off. I think we were at Gillingham or something like that, and someone from Sky come and asked me, and would you be interested? And I've said yeah, right after the game. Yeah. It's only later on then you think, oops, hold on a minute here. You know, the speculators are going to think I want to get out of here or whatever. But it wasn't so much that. It was just, you know, how far do you go with Rotherham? Can they go to the Premier League?
Yeah.
You know, the investment then said no, it was never going to happen. You know, Ipswich, Europe, this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, you're thinking, well, you know, it might be worth an opportunity. You know, because I've had opportunities to leave Rotherham. I mean, umpteen times when I was at, you know, in them 8 years when I was first there. I could have gone to 5 or 6 different clubs, which I'd turned down. Big clubs, big decisions clubs. There. Big decisions for me, you know. Big clubs, as in not one too far away from Rotherham. You know that I could have gone to if I'd have wanted to go. But if I'd have gone there, I'd have got undrawn and quartered. So, you know, I couldn't have lived there. I'd have had to move.
That reputation that you've already got with the fans, with the club, you've been there for so long.
Yeah.
Do you regret that? Do you regret not going?
When you look back at things, you know, you can regret it, but I had a wonderful time at Rotherham, you know, and things went so well for me. I don't think you can regret it. I think if you look back in life and think, oh, I should have done that, I think it'll haunt you forever. I think you have to make a decision and stand by what your decision is. I think if I'd have really wanted to do it, I'd have done it. So something stopped me from doing it. Now, whether that was I'm living in Rotherham, or, you know, because, I mean, I could have gone to Watford at that time, you know, I'd spoke to Watford. So I had the opportunities to go to clubs, but, you know, I was happy where I was living. You know, family life was good, results were going well. So, I mean, and we had 4 years in that champion. I mean, how we ever stayed in that league for 4 years, that championship, with the budget that we were on, it was unbelievable, you know. And every year you're thinking, well, 1 year we had a half decent season, but every year we're thinking, let's get to 50 points. If we get to 50 points 9 times out of 10, that would keep you in the league. Yeah. So, you know,
that was the objective at the start of every season.
Yeah,
to get them 50 points.
And it's not really changed now. If you look at Rotherham now, you know, they're some of the supporters. Well, let's get it right. A lot of supporters understand the situation, but there's a few who don't. You know, the few think we should be halfway up the league or whatever. Rotherham United, on the budget that they've got, will never ever be halfway up championship in that league. It's impossible. You know, we always will be bottom 16 on the budget that Warney's got. If Warney keeps them up this year, I mean, what a season that is for him. I mean, in his second season, but first season in the championship, because he was in the championship when he went down. But there wasn't his team. I mean, he was just handled that, and results, you know, were awful. The team wasn't good enough. But, you know, to finish in that top 6, and for us, when I was there to do that, I mean, it was like promotion for us. Then, you know, to stay in there, there's another year, money coming in and whatever. So to have an extra 4 years at that level, I mean, and some year we were very lucky. We stayed up on goal difference. I think we had to lose 5 a Crewe. Last game of the season. So we sat there, me and Breck, thinking, oh, well, they ain't scoring 5 here, these. So 10 minutes in, 1-0. 15 minutes in, 2-0. I mean, I turned to Breck and went, uh-oh. we could be in trouble here. And we brought all that bottom end there was full of our supporters. It must be 2.5, you know, a Crewe that far end and round. As luck has it, we only lost 2-0, so we stayed up on goal difference.
Yeah. When you mentioned Watford, it brought back a story. I think it was from Rotherham. Said you might have told us again. The changing rooms at Watford, you've got to walk past the home one to get the away one, haven't you? Yeah. And it was when Elton John. Elton John's walked past with all his entourage. Yeah. So obviously all the lads have ran to the door like
someone shouts Elton John's here, haven't he? So they go, Elton John's here. So they all look round seeing Elton John made up, he's there. And then I don't know, I think it might have been Polly, but I might be doing him a disservice, but somebody shoved Monkey, so they've pushed him Andy Monkhouse straight into there and shouted, "Elton, you knobhead!" Close the door. So Monkey stood in it. He stood like that, and they've all turned around looking at him. What? And he's like, it's true, that absolutely. It was brilliant.
That was when you obviously leaving Rotherham. Then must have been a tough moment after all that time there. Just getting them to that position in the first place. You got them there, but obviously the board felt...
Well, not so much the board, to be fair. New people came in. You know, they sold... They had 5 supporters bought the club, apparently. And they come in, and we were struggling. We weren't flying. Just below mid-table, struggling, looking like, we could go tits up here. And the guy who was in charge come to me and he went, look... I went, so what happens with the contracts then? Contracts are up, mine and Breck's. He went, well, let's just leave it, he said, and we just need to get to know you. I went, fucking hell, I've been here 8 years. And your supporters who've bought the club, what do you need to do? So the writing was on the wall, to be fair, and you think...
Did you know straight away off that conversation?
Yeah, I knew straight after it that was going to happen. And it is sad, there's nothing worse when you've been... you've been at a club and you've been there for that long, for it to end like that. It's just a pity it didn't end better, or done in a better way. Even if they had bollocks to just come and say, look, we're struggling, blah blah blah. Football, bang, out you go. Somebody else comes in. But to say, give us 6 weeks, we need to get to know you. Hold on a minute, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my life.
So that goes back to what I said when I said about leaving to go to that big club you're on about. There's no loyalty in football. Do you know what I mean? They've done that to you.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
When you could have easily, when the iron was hot.
But it's going to, sooner or later that you're going to go. There's one thing about football, it's like when you're born in it, you're going to die. Sooner or later you're going to die, but you don't know when. And football management, exactly the same. You're going to get the sack, but you don't know when. And you think you can be there forever and ever and ever, but it doesn't happen. And
it's getting worse as well, isn't it?
Well, it is now. I mean, it's ridiculous how long the jobs last now. I fear for a lot of the young kids. At this moment, there's a lot of young players turning into management and doing really well. But, there's also a lot of people as well who have had the sack. And if you get the sack when you just go into your first job as a manager and in the lower leagues, you're very, very lucky if you're going to get another job from there. And it just kills you. You just don't get the chance to learn your trade, really.
I know when you're going back to being a manager at a club that you've done well at as a player, when I went to Norwich, Brian Gunn was kind of obviously club legend, but when I signed, he was like a player liaison officer or something. He even took me around Norwich looking at flats and stuff to buy. Within a year, he ended up getting the job, manager's job.
It didn't work out.
And he had an absolute shocker, so kind of ruined his legacy at the club. I think they got beat off Colchester 7.
Yeah.
And on the Monday got sacked, ended up giving the job to Paul Lambert. Yeah. But I was looking at it thinking, did you really need to do that? He was a club legend, this and that. I'd never thought he'd be a manager.
But you don't know how it's going to go.
Do you think that where Dean Dublin might have got his new career from then? With taking you round flats. He's seen Brian Gunn do it and thought, it's a bit of me, that.
You don't know how it's going to go, though, because he could have been the next, look at Shearer, Newcastle, he could have saved them and lofted that legendary status even further.
Yeah. Well, I had 8 years at Rotherham and it was just fantastic for me. I mean, I wouldn't change it. I look back and, the opportunity was there, but there's no way. I enjoyed every minute I was there as a player and as the manager. Mm-hmm. To take him from where they were, because I mean, who knew Rotherham years ago? They're up there now, so everybody knows them. Mm. But myself and John Breckin, I think, actually got them back on the map, and that's something I'll always be proud of doing.
I think you can tell. I don't know if you noticed it, but you said we. When you were referring to Rotherham now, you said we. As if it's still your club now. Yeah, it's still. Yeah. I mean?
It's sort of in your blood when you've had that long there. I mean, Tranmere are the same. I mean, the number of years I had at Tranmere, as a player, as the manager. I mean, I've been back there twice as manager. you know, and so the clubs when you've done well. I mean, even supporters there now at Tranmere have been fantastic. When they go back, do a bit of TV work or whatever, you know, they're always supportive.
So you went to Oldham from Rotherham. What happened there? Because it was a quick stint, wasn't it? And
yeah, it was 12 months there. We went in there, myself and Breck. I was quite lucky because I'd left Rotherham, and I think within 2 weeks I was at Oldham. It was unbelievable how quick things went, turned round. They were struggling when myself and Breck went in there. Kept them up that year, and then the following season finished 9th. I think it was 9th, and got the sack. You know, it's like, well, hold on a minute, why? I mean, I don't know. A lot of people, I mean, I still have a banter now a little bit on Twitter with one or two of the Oldham supporters. But I don't know whether they know Oldham, but people who do know Oldham, you're actually sitting in the crowd as a manager. You know, you sat there with the subs in the away side and there's fans sat 2 yards in front of you. Well, I was getting dogs abuse for boshing it, apparently, you know, boom. Every time it went long, they were going, boom, boom. And then, you know, so it was like, they wanted pretty football, and we didn't have a team who could play pretty football. You have to look at what you've got and play a certain way, you know. And there were times when we did play at different clubs, but for some reason they got it in their head, the supporters, that it's boom, boom, boom. And, you know, it's just, there was like an atmosphere, and they were, these people who were around where the dugouts were quite abusive at times. Not everybody, you know, not everybody. I mean, my wife used to go, so she wasn't, but the rest of them, but the rest of them were. But yeah, you know, so I was getting stick in, and
I keep hearing this about Oldham, don't we? It sounds like Galatasaray.
So you finished 9th in League One?
Yeah, I'm sure it was 9th. Yeah, I might be lying, it might be 12th, but it was certainly above where they were. And the chairman came to me and says, season tickets have not gone as well as they should have done. So we'll let you go.
Sales as well here.
Yeah, so it's like, well, hold on a minute. And he went, it's the football that we've been playing, or lack of football that we've been playing, and that's the reason for it. You know, and which was bollocks, really. I mean, it was nothing to do with that. I mean, he obviously didn't fancy me doing it, or for what reason. And instead of just saying it and getting on with it, you know, I can't stand people who go, I'd rather have it bang straight in the face, you know, rather than go round the houses and creep round it and use excuses.
Was he hoping for promotion or something like that? Is that what? I
think he was, you know, and I'm thinking, and I'm sure somewhere down the road I had a little pop at, because it was, I said they're still living in Joe Roll area in the past. You know, plastic pitches and all this, which probably out of order but it wasn't meant the way it's come across, and it caused a lot of trouble, I would imagine, with a lot of supporters there. I wasn't having a go with Joe Royal, you know, it was simple as that. But nearly every time I went back after that, we won, which was pleasing for me. I think we lost one. And
it's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah, and one year we were there, my lad actually scored, it was a penalty in the 90th minute, I think it was, something like that. And it took probably 3 days for me and Arlene to come off the pitch, you know, at the end, celebrating. And that didn't go down too well, but we both got our hands up 1-0 like this, turning around at everybody. And there's nobody in there, it was that late, they've all gone. By the time we realised, but it's just nice when you can actually go back, and to be fair...
And shove it back up.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Oldham supporters who've been really genuine on Twitter by... It's not all of us, Ronnie. It's not, you know what I mean? So, I suppose if you get a certain section, but the chairman listens to him, whatever, then you know, football, they don't like you, you're out, aren't you?
I was saying before, I wonder if Scholesy doesn't do as well as hoped, how the fans would react to him. Yeah. I wonder if them people you're on about sat around the dugout, I can't imagine them giving him.
See, because abuse. Of who he is, you get a little bit longer than a lot more people, won't he? But sooner or later, like I said to you, sooner or later, it's going to take. Yeah. Football's, you cannot be consistently winning games. It's just unless you've got like 200 million or whatever it is. But when you're in League One and League Two, you're very, very lucky if you can go for 4, 5, 6 years at consistently winning games. It just doesn't happen.
There's definitely going to be a shout of, "Oi, copper bollocks!"
yeah, something's going to get in it.
Yeah. Disappointed if that doesn't come out.
You mentioned Ian there. Is that a difficult situation to be in with the players? I mean, because we've talked about, having your son in the team.
Yeah.
And do you have to deal with it in a certain way, not wanting to be preferential, not want to see preferential treatment?
No, it was never a problem for me because, I mean, he could have gone anywhere when he was 16, 17, his first year. He actually ended up coming to Tranmere.
Yeah.
And I was assistant manager at Tranmere at the time, and he turned down Aston Villa, could have gone to Villa, but came to Tranmere because he liked his own life, his own comforts and wherever, and I think it was probably the right decision. He got in Tranmere's team, I think, when he was 17 or 18. So, no, he never got any... in fact, he got worse.
Yeah,
because
that's why I see him in that way.
Yeah.
Either way, you either get it a bit easier or you're getting it all the time.
Yeah, you tend to... I actually took him to Rotherham the second time I was at Rotherham, and it was probably worse there for him than anywhere because he tended to sit on the bench because Lafondra was scoring goals and wherever there, but didn't work half as hard as Ari. And I'm saying, sometimes you look back and think, should I have started him or played him or given more game time? But because he was my lad, it was easier to say, well, I'll tell you what, you stay in and I'll sit him there because he won't mind because he's my lad. And
Did he ever have a pop at you? Did he ever say,
no,
fuck me, Dad?
He's quietish lad anyway. He's one of them. He's never come up to me and, what are you doing? He's never ever said that. But I think deep down he probably thinks it. I think he probably thinks, well, why did you carry on playing him? When it was obvious, that time was right for him. And it's funny story because he hadn't played that many games while I was there. Then I got the sack from Rotherham. We lost 5-0 at Chesterfield in the derby game, which
crazy sport.
Which is not nice when it's a derby game. But even then, we were 5th in the league, so it wasn't like we were struggling at the bottom of the league. I think we'd have still gone up, but the board, in their wisdom, decided to let me go. So I'm trying to think who took over. Andy Liddell took over, and Warney, I think them two took over as managers. And they were at Lincoln. Well, I'd watched Lincoln in the week before, and all my report, because I said, look, these are here to be beat. They were struggling, Lincoln at the time, thinking we've got a right chance here. So I get the sack. So Lids puts Ian in. They only win 6-0, he scores 3.
Fucking told you, Dad.
Cheers, mate. and I just think down whether he's thought, bloody hell, because it's just unbelievable how it happened.
Yeah.
I go out and you think, well, he'll be a bit miserable. He scores 3 goals when he wins 6-0. But
it was like that when we were at Preston, when Alan Irvine was in charge, and he had Rob Kelly as his assistant. So it came to the point where Alan left the club and Rob Kelly and Billy Barr took over for an FA Cup game on the Saturday, and Neil Mellor was like really close with Rob, when he was assistant. He used to do his little finishing drills and basically teach his pet. So on Rob's first game, it was a FA Cup tie against Colchester.
By the way, I got to that game at fucking 3 minutes to 2.
The
team sheet went in. I was touch and go whether I make it team sheet. And fucking snow on M62.
So anyway, we've come in on the Saturday. It was me and him up front. He'd left Mel's on the bench. He was fuming.
And I got there at 2 minutes to fucking 2. Mel's was like that.
Still at you.
Fucking chugged him.
It still hurts him to this day.
We won 7-0. I scored that trick. That was the best one with Mel's, with Alan Irvine. He'd not scored for quite a few games, had he? 7 or 8 games. So he's fucking gone to see Alan and knocked on the door. Open the door. Can I have a word, Gaffer? He went, Neil, you've not scored for 8 games. Please leave my office. Shut the door. And then to fuck off. He couldn't say all. You know what I mean? So Mel's, because he's like, you get it in your head what you're going to say to the manager and whatever. And he just went, you've not scored for 8 games. Leave my office. Shut the door and fucking came out with his tail between his legs.
Was it after that Chesterfield game, on the Sky interview that you said, if I had
a gun, I'll shoot him. Yeah. I didn't quite mean it like that, you know what I mean? But it's just, you're so frustrated. And I don't know why, it just slips out. It's one of them, isn't it? You're thinking. It was only later when I saw it, I thought, on the TV, I thought, ooh, that's a bit strong now.
That didn't come across quite animated.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't really mean I would actually give me a gun and I'll shoot them.
Was there a bit of a backlash from that? Did anybody...
No, I don't know. There wasn't really. It was only I sort of looked at it and thought, and it was later on somebody I was out somewhere and he come up to me and says, "Would you have shot them, Ronnie?" And I was thinking, no, not really. It was just something I said, on the spur of the moment. And you start saying it, you can't drag it back, can you? And then once you've said it, you think, have I really said that?
You should have given us a shout when I can get these paintball guns for you.
Yeah, that's what I really meant.
Darren Ferguson did it in one of his interviews after the game about a linesman. And he got a big fine. And
he got done by the FA. Yeah.
Said if I had a gun, I'd shoot him. Not the liner.
Yeah, going back to that, when we lost 5-0, there was a function, a football, I think it's Football League function in London on the Sunday, but I couldn't get to. But the chairman and the chief exec went to it, and unfortunately for me, I wasn't there. But they actually went on the same table as the chairman and directors of Chesterfield. So, you look back sometimes and think, if I'd have gone to that on that day, would I have got the sack on that Monday or not? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because apparently the people from Chesterfield have obviously given the chairman a bad time about 5-0 and this, that and the other, and bang. I bet it's been like a drip. It's been boom, 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 boom. And then on the Monday, driving home, I bet he's thought, I'm going to shoot it. He's got to go. He's got to go. 5-0 in a derby game. I don't care about 5th or 6th in the league. What does that matter? Mm-hmm. And I really do believe if I'd have gone to that dinner that day,
you wouldn't have been.
Whether I'd still be there or not is open to debate. But I certainly wouldn't have gone at that time. Yeah. I don't think, because it'd have had to be a brave man to say anything when I was sat at the table anyway. Yeah. Because I'd have just said straight, we're not here for anything like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it wouldn't have been said. But I'm sure, you look back and think, why didn't I go to that? If I'd gone to that, I might have got another 12 months there. You just don't know, do you?
There'd been free food and drink as well.
Yeah, normally I'm into all that type of stuff. Anything for now, innit? And I'm normally Adam, because... But I can't even remember why I didn't go, but I couldn't get to it, which was a sickener, really.
So, after that game, are you at home in bed, like, thinking, Monday might be the day?
Yes and no, but you look at it because obviously the crowd's disappointed, we lost 5, but then you're thinking back to a little bit of loyalty, you've been there, you've done this, they know who you are. So you think, well, surely that might just give you a little bit. Now, if we'd have been bottom of the league and looking at we're going down and you lose 5-0 at Chesterfield in a derby game, you're out, straight away. Yeah. You think, I'm going Monday. You can smell it. But when you're at the stage you're at then, you just look back and think, no, they say don't look back in anger, but I do on that one. Yeah. Because I look back and think, it's a club that I've loved and it's, I've given them everything I can. And you just sometimes think, well, can you give us just that little bit more?
I think it was unjust at that moment.
Yeah, I do. But, Rotherham supporters might say, no, I think it was right, but I'm still convinced that a lot of it had to do with that night when I wasn't there, and it's a drip, drip, drip. constantly being told 5-0, 5-0, laughing, and eventually, you know, the chairman's he's gonna say, I've had enough. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
But like I say, I enjoyed all my time. All my jobs as manager, really, I've enjoyed. You know, even Oldham, you know, I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think I was going to go from there. Sometimes you look back and think, you're an unlucky bastard, really, when you think. Because I've had the sack when I was 6th or 5th in the league when we were at Eastleigh. Oldham 9th. Tranmere always safe and above water in Eden. And yet I've had the sack twice there. I mean, once obviously over this gambling nonsense that went on.
Can you talk
So
about
go on, what
that?
happened there?
Which, I mean, it's...
Because I was looking at this, there was 95 bets. I've got it here, a bit of research.
Yeah.
95 bets, 65 of them were under a tenner,
Yeah.
and 10 of them were £1.
It's...
So, I mean, if you're looking for that yacht in Costa Brava,
Yeah.
I don't think they're
And
not going on the gambling route, are we?
that was the annoying thing for me. And we were struggling a little bit at the time, and that's where I look back again about loyalty. You know, of a club saying, bang, hold on a minute. It was an easy way out for Tranmere to get shut. You know what I mean, at the time. You know, and I look back and I think about the chairman thinking, well, hold on a minute. He didn't really want a know about what had happened and how it happened. You know, he didn't actually sit me down and say, come here and let's have a chat about this and let's see what it is. Have you been betting against Tranmere Rovers losing games? Well, if you do that, you want shooting. Yeah. Sorry, but you want you want
It just slipped on the tongue.
You want locking up. if you're doing something like that against your own
I think
team.
you're going army instead of going back to butchery.
But I look back at one of them bets, right? We were at Colchester, and my sister-in-law rung me up Saturday morning and says, Oliver, who's my nephew, who was 7 at the time, she went, can you put £1 double, right? £1 double, Tranmere to beat Colchester and Man United to beat Chelsea. Do you know what it paid if it come up? £3.50, right?
What did you say? I won't fucking back us.
Do you know, we actually beat Colchester 5-0 at Colchester, and Man U beat Chelsea. So we won £3.50. So they done me for that because I bet on my own team in that division to win a game. Right? I had £20. I had a £20 bet on the cup final. Just how good I am. Right? Man City to beat Wigan. Right? 1-4. He got beat. Right? So, but because we'd played in the FA Cup,
you couldn't.
I couldn't bet. Well, now what sort of inside information have I got on that?
Yeah.
Exactly like the punter. And I do understand they're the rules, you know. And basically, when I opened the account when I was unemployed, and we used to, 4 of us, me, my missus, my father-in-law, and my sister-in-law, had £5 each. So we had a £20 bet on accumulators. So we picked one team from each division. And because I went back into management and still had the bet, then that's that. But there was never any bets in there against any team that I was for to get beat. The one to win was the only one was Tranmere to win. And do you think if I knew we were going to win 5-0, I'd have had £1 on him?
So what happened? How did the FA find out?
Yeah, did it come out?
So I don't know, to be honest. It's somebody they sent me. They phoned me up and said, we believe you've got an account. Can we have the username and whatever to get into it? So I gave them the username and whatever.
Did you know you were in trouble at this point? Did you think?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. You know, back at work. And the easy way out of all this was to put it in someone else's name. You know, if I was actually on the fiddle or trying to do something, you know, I could have easily gone, well, put that in my wife's name or put that in my father-in-law's name, you know. Because
just a bit of fun.
It was a bit of fun, yeah. And at that time, I mean, they've come down heavy now, haven't they, on the betting. But it made me laugh when I got done for that. I mean, this is over a 3-year period, right? We had £1,000 in bets, which sounds a lot now, but it's over 3 years, right? £20 a week or whatever, and we actually won 900. So I'm £100 down, right? So I get fined. I had to plead guilty because it was in my name. You know, so you plead guilty when you go in there. The FA fine me, suspend the sentence on it, and then the chairman can't wait to phone me up and tell me where I'm out the door.
So it costs you a lot more than £100.
Well, it cost me about 106,000.
Jesus, man. So what was the...
Did your nephew give you £3.50?
He got us £3.50.
You don't believe that.
So, well, you know, and you look back and think, you know, how naive and stupid, you know, when I could have easily just gone bang. And the funny thing about it, you know, was when you're a manager, you get invited into everybody, you know, you play the game, the other manager says, come and have a beer or whatever. The number of times I've been in rooms and we were talking and they go, oh, they've let me down on a coupon there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Nearly every time we went into manager's room, some team would let them down on a coupon. But they're strong on it now. And I agree that, you know, but I think if you're betting against your team to get beat, like I said to you, I think you should be. I mean, I was stupid, really. And the easy way out was just change it to somebody else's name.
Did you get any stick, like any reporting out of context or anything like that?
No,
like...
I never got anything. No stick from where. I mean, it was funny because I went back to Tranmere to do a thing for BT, the commentary, and a little Scouse lad come over by the wall. He went, Ronnie. He went, will you sign this for us? Give us your autograph on the William Hill. I swear to God, it was on the William Hill betting slip. No, it was unreal. But like I say, that cost me. Now, I don't know how much more that has cost me, because, you know, trying to get back into football now, I mean, Hartlepool were brilliant, because, I mean, you know, after it all been done and I left Tranmere, I actually went then to Hartlepool from there, and we had the great escape that we had from there. So that at least they gave me the opportunity to come back and show that you know, I can still be a manager, I can still do this, that and the other. To keep them up, for me, was equivalent to them 2 promotions that we got with back-to-back at Rotherham.
That's some achievement.
You know, when you're 10 points adrift, the way we were, and to actually stay in by 3 points and 1 game to go, it was incredible.
Yeah. How many games were left when you were 10 points adrift?
There was 15 games, 12 games to go. 12 games.
So when you went in, did you actually think, I need to start planning for conference here because we've fucking no chance? Or did you genuinely
I think hand on heart, you look at it, and first and foremost, you're out of work, and you're thinking, this would be a right balance, this could be a right challenge, this. You look at it and think, so you take the opportunity and you hope that you can turn it around, because you just have faith in what you can do or what you can attract by the people you know. You know, we got some decent players in on loan when I went there. You know, you look at that and think, you know, because of who you know in football, they do you favours. And, you know, we got some quality. Hugo came in.
From Middlesbrough? Was he Middlesbrough then?
Yeah, he was at Preston. So I got him and on loan. Got us 6 goals, I think, when he come in. Tish Bowler from Reading, who actually went from Reading to Villa for 5 million. Hugo went for 11 million. So, you know, it's having the eye to see these kids and they've come in, done well for us, and then gone on to different things.
Do you know, before you took the job, how did you play it when you obviously walked in the building and thought, right, I need to get a smile on the lads' faces? Did you go down that route rather than tactical thing, or did you just think, right, I need to lift the training with fun and games rather than boom, boom, boom? But have one day where the Thursday was the work day proper, where you did set plays and this is how they're going to play, and they knew. Then the Friday would sort of be 5-a-side competition. You know, 5-pack in a Rolo or 5 whatever. Whoever wins this has that, and it just got to that stage. Only for like 2 or 3 weeks while you get your feet under the table.
Just that injection.
We went down there, boom, and it just sort of instead of looking at the floor, their heads are up and they're smiling and they're laughing and whatever. You know, we got together. We had Chinese out and this and talking, and let them have a beer on the bus when we're coming back and whatever. And the response you got from the players was terrific. I mean, without their response on the pitch, doesn't matter what you do. You know, you need them all to be on the same. If they're on the same song sheet as you, they're going to give you everything. And them lads gave us everything they had. You know, now I don't know why I got it. Changed it a little bit because, like I say, the players that we mentioned there, Jones, who's going to go to Reading and going to go to Rangers in the summer, who was at Middlesbrough. He came in and played for us. So we got good players in, you know, who came only young, but good lads, and they gave that spark, a little bit of pace, a little bit of energy, no fear. You know, and to be fair to the home crowd, I mean, they really got behind it, the Hartlepool crowd.
I mean, I know you love your pop songs converted to football chants.
Oh, yes.
Who's the best manager in the Football League? It's you, Ron, it's you, Ron.
Oh, classic.
It's a beauty.
It was unbelievable, wasn't
Top three for me.
Oh,
It's up there, isn't it?
That's in top three.
It's up there.
Easy. Yeah, I mean, that was on Twitter as well, wasn't it? I mean, we'd had a right day out. Buster, you know. There was Sam Collins, Marty Brown. We were all out on the Sunday and had a right day when we were safe. And we went out. And it was Buster started singing that song, and then it just slowed down, and then it come to me, and I went, "It's me, Ron." That was on Twitter. It was absolutely quality. Honestly, God.
Have you seen the tattoo that somebody?
Yeah. Do you know about
What,
that?
the picture?
Yeah, of you on the lad's leg.
Yeah, it doesn't look like me though.
Your nose is bigger than that.
Yeah, miles. Yeah, I thought I could have made it a little bit smaller.
Kettle call it pot.
That must have been some night afterwards.
Yeah,
after
it was.
Securing.
It was absolutely
safety.
brilliant as well. I mean, you know, we had to wait. We had Exeter at home on the Saturday, and we beat Exeter 2-1, and then the other game was going on. So we were all jumping and cheering. Everybody's on the pitch, and we still wait for the result to come through. But as it happens, they've drawn, so we've won. It was an absolute stonking night. I mean, it is. Like I say, it's just like a promotion. You get the same feel and the same buzz as keeping them up, as you shouldn't, but you do, as when you win the league. We could have won the league by 20 points.
Yeah.
It was the same.
Especially,
Feeling the
same
same
adrenaline,
euphoria.
same,
especially the position that we're in as well.
Yeah,
with
without
10
that-
points adrift in it.
Because, you know, because to be fair, my missus said to me, if you do that, you'll be able to walk on water over there. that was the words when I took the job. And I said, I better not try it, but I'll leave my armbands.
Is there any science to it? Do you just turn up and you just do it? Do you sit down there when you say you're going to lift that changing room and lift them?
Yeah, going in at
just
that time.
automatic?
Yeah, I think going in the state they were in, they were flat anyway. They're down, and I don't think you need to go in and give them too much. I mean, once I got in and got it sorted, the following season, I mean, you know, we did it really. I was going to say really proper, but that's not the word I'm looking for, because we did it proper because we worked hard in a different way. But we did it in a different way. We went round then. This is who you're playing against. This is his strength. So they got the sheets and all that then in the second. But that time didn't want that. We didn't want to give them too much to think about and bump.
Yeah.
They knew that we were struggling and looked like we were going down. We were odds on to go down by.
Could have had a pound on that.
Could have had a pound on that, yeah.
Double edged. I can't lose here.
That's where I should have had the pound, innit? Keeping them up, I'd have been a millionaire now.
From the flip side of that, do you ever think? Have you ever lost a dressing room? Because we hear that a lot from a manager's perspective. Have you ever, at any club, gone home after a game, sat there and think, I don't know how I'm going to turn this around?
No, to be honest, I haven't. Honestly, that's not pat on the back or whatever. You know, I can honestly. Players might say, well, you don't know much then because you did at this club or that club, or we were doing this and you knew nothing about it. Now, I don't know anything about that. But I don't think players were as strong then. You know, I think now, you only have to look at Man United, don't you? To say, well, hold on a minute, what's gone on there? You know, if they're down tools now, you can be gone in no time. I think managers are a little bit stronger. And I'm talking about, you know, we're not talking about years and years ago. This is only recently, but at our level, I don't think players are strong enough at League One and League Two to down tools like you can at the Championship.
I think a lot of them are on 1-year contracts, aren't they? So from Christmas,
so they're playing for their livelihood.
You're playing for your life, your livelihood, really. From Christmas on.
Yeah.
Where if you're getting 50 grand a week over 3 years,
A power struggle there.
you know, it's like, well, what do you really have to play? If I'm not playing, I'm on 50 grand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, there's only Alec Ferguson really could handle them, the big hitters like that, wasn't it? You know, you look at it, but now I'd love to know how Ferguson would have handled that situation at Man U, because to see the players just come out the shells now, you know, Pogba more than anybody, innit? You know, to see the way all of a sudden he's Pogba that everybody knows and can play, and yet he wouldn't have gotten a dog and duck 2 months ago, would he? You know, that's the disappointing thing, that players can be strong, but no, I don't think players are strong enough at their lower levels to actually, but I'll be surprised if they are. I mean, can players be that strong? I don't know. I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, no.
How would you have tackled it if you were at Man United, and if somebody like that tried it on? How would you approach it?
It's very difficult when you think about it, isn't it? I mean, you're going to be. There'll be four. It can't be just one that's doing it. You know, it can't do, because if one tries it and you've got a strong dressing room, the one gets boshed, doesn't it? You know, he's done. So there's got to be 5 or 6 who are in there, and he hasn't got a strong enough help from the other lads. You know, they're either fearful to say something because they're big hitters and they're not. So eventually, I think as a manager, I don't think there's a great deal you can do. You know, what you do, the only thing you can do is get rid of him, but you can't get rid of them. Like Pogba, you can't get shut off, but Joe Blogg's playing in League Two. You can shoo him to wherever he wants, or you can tell him, I tell you what, you're looking a bit fat, you're gonna wait for 6 weeks here to get there.
That's all.
Easy target. I'm glad you never fucking signed me.
Not fat.
But, yeah. So I mean, you can get him. You can have 6 weeks with him to get him fit. So, but at that level up there, it is a nightmare.
What did you think of the Sarri Kepa situation?
Well, I'd like to think that wouldn't have happened if I was a manager. You know, I think he's got to be strong and actually make sure you drag him off if you've got to. But you cannot have a player dictating to you saying, what happens if you want to bring the centre forward off in the next game? And he says no. So, you know, they're going to bring him. No, I don't want to come off. What do you do then? It's like,
your time at Blackburn, you couldn't wait to get dragged, could you? Fucking get me off.
I think it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel a bit sorry for Kepa, because I think he was giving him the thumbs up
to say I'm all right,
thinking I'm all right, and it happens every week to outfield players. If an outfield player goes down, and you can see the sub on the sidelines, the outfield player goes, no, I'm all right. Sub sits down, nothing else said. So I think Kepa's thinking, he's sticking his thumb up, going, I'm fine. No, don't bring us off. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But then, he's a big fan of arrogant arseholes, isn't he?
I
don't think it's arrogant. I think
but Louise went over after speaking to the sideline and had a word in his ear, so he must have transferred that message.
What did he say? Well, you don't know that.
Well, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd like to think whether that is a situation, you know, he could be saying but the manager might have still wanted to put him on for the penalties and because it's Man City.
But yeah, so he should have been stronger that way.
So he should have been stronger and called them and said it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
I just want.
I agree with that.
We're into extra time or whatever. If what's the keeper's name? The
Caballero.
Caballero. Who's been at Man City, knows the players. The reverse psychology of that is when it comes to penalties. Man City players walking up thinking, he knows where I'm going to put this. Because he's done it that often while they've been training. So it was a big decision.
I think John Terry will let it happen.
No.
I think John Terry's fucking dragging him off.
But I think it comes back to the manager. The manager's got to say to somebody.
But he's got to say to the ref, look, don't start the game, he's off. Until he comes off. And then sooner or later he's got to come off. He can't. Yeah. Send him off if you want. Yeah, you know, off you come.
Yeah.
You've got to, as a manager, you can't have players dictate like that.
Who's been the most difficult player to manage?
That's a hard one because I've had good players, really. When I say good players, proper professional people who do the job right. But, you know, I've spoke about Brano, you know, and people laugh. But we have great understanding, don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, he'd tell you now, he'd run through a brick wall for us, and he did often, you know. But trying to handle him and get him to do the right things off the park, not on the pitch. You tell him what he's doing and this is your job and that's that. He's brilliant at it. You know, it's just difficult trying to control what he wanted to do. If he wanted to do something, then he'll do it, and then sod the consequences, if you like. You know, and it probably feels a bit harsh to say Brano, but you know, I haven't really had where you've got to think, well, I've got to find him, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. He's constantly doing this, and I've had a lot of players during all them years I've been managing, you know, and it's and to support the players. I mean, I was saying to Parky before, you've just got to be careful as a manager that you're not getting a birthday card off everybody when it's your birthday, you know, or a Christmas card off all the players. If you're getting that, something's not quite right. You know, if you're getting one or two, like Sedgwick used to send me one all the time. Polly, you know, and Alan Lee. But apart from that, yeah.
How would you have dealt with him?
I'd have run with the madman. That's the phrase I'd use. And John Brecken, who was my assistant, used to say that to me all the time. Gaffy, you've got to run with the madman. And you used to think, what? And it was basically just go with him, you know, and sooner or later he's going to do what you want. And it's true, the saying, I think. If I was saying to him, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that, you know you're not going to get the response that you want from him. But if you let him get away with a little bit before you tug on the chain to bring him back into it, I think you'll get the response that you want from him.
Yeah. Do you have to worry about
that fucking bad, what? I've done fucking 21 years. It's a fucking bracket, you know? Fucking Jesus.
Do you have to be careful though? Because, like we said before, if a striker's scoring goals, you know, you can get away with a bit more. But do you have to be careful considering the thought process of the other players around him as well?
In what way?
So you're giving a bit more, so they might not be trying as hard in training. You might hear whispers of them being out on a Thursday or whatever, and they've been out a bit too late. And you know you're giving them a bit more because the performance is there on the field. Yeah. But then you've got to also think about those other lads in the squad that are thinking, fucking hell, he's giving him everything. He gets away with all sorts.
Yeah, but you can't be that obvious though with it. You know, you've got to. I'd have a one-to-one with whoever the player was and just try and get him on your side that way, you know. And it's like the captain, you know, when you've got good captains, you need a captain who's going to come back and tell you what's going on in the dressing room, I think. You know, he's not a spy in the dressing room, but I've had good captains who've come and knocked on my door and went, Gaffer, something's happening, you have to be careful with so-and-so today, or you know, so you're getting a little bit of information of what's going on. You know, or he stepped out of line. You need to sort him out. And they've come and done that. And then what you do, you leave it. Say you know something's happened on the Tuesday or whatever. Then on the Thursday or the Friday when you walk past the lad, you just drop the coin down or drop. You know what I mean? And they go, "Okay, Ellie, how was Tuesday then? You have a good time then?" Straight off, and it's like, "What? Fucking Ellie, he knows what's going on here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just little things like that put them on the toes as well. You know, and like I say with the captains, if you've got a good captain, and he's not snitching on the lads, he's coming to mark your card on what the dressing room's like. So-and-so's an absolute arse or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's been your best captain?
I've had some good captains. Martin McIntosh was a great captain for us. You know, you look at him, he's a leader. Swalesy has been captain. Chris Swales, he'd run through the brick wall for you. It's probably the best. If you look back on it, and I call Kevin Watson, who was at Tottenham and
Colchester.
Yeah,
he came on goal with us, didn't he?
Yeah.
midfield player, great lad.
He hated you.
He was my assistant at Eastleigh, to be fair. You know, I
good
took
player
him in,
now.
I took him in, good, silky player. Scored some goals for us, great leader. Got the back-to-back promotions with him. He was as good as anything, really. You know, and I think you need to be a decent manager. You need good players around you and people who trust you. And you know, you trust him as far as you could go with it. I mean, he's fantastic as a player. You know, and also giving you the information. And it's not snitching on players. Don't get me wrong. You know, I don't want people then thinking, oh, so he was doing this and he was doing that. It's not that. It's just when things aren't right in the dressing room, how do I know that things aren't right in the dressing room? You need a little bit of inside information. And for good things and bad things, it might be that somebody's mum's died or somebody's grandma's died or somebody, do you know, something that's going to put them off or whatever. And it's just little things like that make the dressing room better.
Did you find that you took a shine to the lads who didn't do everything by the book? You know, I'm using Branson as an example because he had a bit of an edge to him. Did you find yourself?
Rogue. Yeah, you do. You know, and you do sometimes close your eyes on something that's gone on because I could have battered him loads of times, and you think, well, no, because you know what he's going to do for you. You tend to think, no, I'll let that go. But I've been, you know, you look back and I've been so lucky that I haven't really had an absolute nightmare of a player to deal with, where you think, I can't wait to get shut of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've been, and I probably lucky as a manager to have that. It's just, you know, I haven't had a real nasty, horrible person in the dressing room, because most of the dressing rooms we've had have been strong dressing rooms, so no one would get away with it. The lads themselves who were in that dressing room would sort out any problems and maybe not even have to come back to me. Yeah. You know, sort it out themselves in because if you've got good pros in the dressing room, you know, and they all want the same thing, then you know, I've been fortunate, lucky enough to have that.
Sorry, Chris, did you always do your homework before signing a player on what type of? Yeah,
on what type they are. You know, speak back to the manager, find, you know, who the friends are. Sometimes players would come to me and say, so and so fancies it. So it works both ways, you know. Looking for players, you might say to Watto when he was captain, Watto, where am I going to get a midfield player that's going to sit in there or whatever? You know, just throw the corn in. We'd have a list with about 100 people on, but it's sometimes coming from the player. You know, they say, I've seen so-and-so, which we probably have, but they might know him and say, look, this lad's
he's
decent.
A good lad.
You know, he's just what we need for the way we play in our dressing room. And so little things like that help you along the way, I think.
Have you had to deal with many fights among players on the training pitch? Because we've talked about a few before. You know, the lads
tipping Brano.
I mean, I've had to stand up and separate players, obviously, in the dressing room. You know, Swalesy, McIntosh, people, Alan Lees. You know, when they fall out with
when
whoever.
Tensions are high during a game.
Yeah, you know, when they're having a pop at each other. You know, Andy Robbo, who was with me at Tranmere, a fantastic player, great at organising your dressing room and you know, people like that. But it's where are we? I've just gone off the track there. What was the question again?
any scraps?
Yeah, because I'm just thinking there about me stopping scraps. I've stopped one or two. I've nearly had one or two punches myself in there, but I could be like that as well at half time or whatever. You know, I've done it sometimes and think, whoa, I've probably gone over the top there. You know, when you're right into somebody's face and they're stood up having a pop at you as well. You know it's not going to be fisticuffs, but it's just the anger, and then they come back with the anger at you, and if you're not careful, you can get yourself into trouble.
How do you deal with it after? You know,
Monday
like
morning job done.
Yeah.
Monday morning forgot about.
Yeah. Or even after the game, depending on what, you know, or just pull him, or I'd shout him down on the bus. So he'd come down and sit down. So he's not over the weekend, he's not stewing over it. And so you bring him down and say, look, sorry about that. You know, we're all over 21. It happens. Blah blah blah. No grudges. Shake hands and off you go.
I think that's a good thing to be able to have a go at your manager, knowing that things will get said that you don't mean in heat of the moment, but Monday morning it'll be forgetting about.
Get on with it. I mean, you can't especially when the decent players. You know, it's when the winners. It's that winner mentality that they've got in them, innit? You know that they are going to explode. I hate the ones who don't say anything more than anything. You know. They let other people talk for them, but they won't sort of have a pop themselves, you know. And sometimes in management, they're the easy ones to leave out when you're a manager, you know.
Yeah, you know they're going to come and knock on your door.
You know, you're looking like you think there's not much between these two. If I leave him out, I'm going to get a right earache. If I leave him out, he's going to say no. And sometimes that, you know, if you're soft. That's the way you can go down, but it doesn't help the team. You know, you can't say like, I'm not telling Brano because if I tell him, there's going to be bloody murder. So I'll leave the other centre half out. Do you know what I mean? You've got to do your job to the best of your ability and go with your gut feeling. You know, there's been plenty of time when we've actually, when we got them promotion. John Breck was my assistant. We do all the functional work on the Thursday and think, yeah, got that right. Then we'd have a drink before we went home on the Friday, done the work, and we'd be in the office 5 o'clock on the Friday. And Breck would have a beer and then he'd just drop one in and say, are you sure about the way we're going tomorrow? And I go, what? 5 o'clock Friday? I went, I know, but I've been thinking about it. He went, don't you think we'd be better to do this? And we go through it. It might be 7 o'clock by the time we leave there. But I've gone home then with thinking everything's great. Then I've gone home and I'm thinking, this might not be the way to go here. Now that he's pointed it out to us, you know. So Saturday we come in, get down with a big whiteboard. Lads come in and go, look, we're going to scrub that. And I bet the lads think, well, he don't know what to do. These two cowboys here. What are they doing?
Yeah, Barry and fucking Paul chuckle again.
We've had all week doing this, and now we're going to change it Saturday morning. You know, and it was just thinking with something, instead of being 4-4-2, we might go, should we do 4-3-3 or 3 at the back or whatever? And we've done that a few times and just put it on the board, and we've been lucky enough that we haven't lost, because I think if you lose when you do it, you then they'll look at you and go, they're a pair of clowns. They don't know what to do in Pinky and Perky here. Do you know what I mean? Because Brett used to say that to me as we were walking in, you know, because the players are out, aren't they? They're warming up and whatever. And as me and Brett used to walk, Brett used to go, look at him. They're saying, here they are, Pinky and Perky. Walking across here. And I bet they did, because they just said something, wouldn't they? Because players do, they can't help themselves, can they? Look at these two, blind leading the blind here. It's just one of them things that happens in football.
Did the Chuckle brothers ever have much to do at Rotherham?
Little bits. In the early days, they had quite a bit. They used to come in and used to get tickets and all that for their shows, for the kids. They are mad Rotherham supporters, to be fair. You know, and...
Get them down for a training session?
They never come for that. They actually came in and I think it was Paul Warren's testimonial. And they were the physios for both teams. So they had this bucket of water and they're throwing it over everybody. You know, it's like, who invited these here? You know what I mean? But they just can't help themselves. They've got to take the piss. Yeah. You know, and it's a shame, you know, obviously with him dying and all that. It's a nightmare. I mean, even now they're trying to get a statue or a street or something named after him in Rotherham, and they're still umming and ahhing, and I think they should go with that anyway. I don't think that should matter, really. Yeah. But they're good people. They were funny people.
So what you're doing, are you open to offers, trying to get back in?
Yeah, I mean, look, you get to my age, and like I've said, it's like you're a dinosaur and you don't know what's going on. Which is nonsense, really, because, you know, to keep you... I mean, I'm level 5 coach, so to keep that, I have to go on all the courses. I have to attend all the coaching courses that are going on. So it's not like you're falling out where you don't know what... It's like, oh, we're 4-4-2, and that's the way it is. I mean, everyone knows how to play 3-5 or whatever, you know. So it annoys me that people think you're a dinosaur because you're 60. I mean, look at the Palace manager who's doing a great job. You know, there's room for it. I think. You know, I look at the career I've had as a manager, and like I think it's something like 940 odd games or 930 odd games as a manager.
60, don't you?
You know, and you're thinking, can you get to that 1,000 or just? And that's not the reason I want to do it. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's just because how many have had 1,000 league games? Not a lot, to be honest. When you look round and you think, one more season or whatever, or even more. I mean, the problem I have is because I've been a manager, and I say, look, I don't want to be a manager anymore, right? I'll be a recruitment guy. So you phone up or you speak to somebody. No manager at any football club now will allow. I won't get into a football club as a recruitment guy or a scout. I don't think, because it's like, hold on a minute, if he comes in here, and we go tits up here, he's gonna have my job. So the easiest thing to say is no, innit? And that's what I'm finding. So I can't even revert from being a manager into a recruitment guy. I mean, the only other thing that happens, and I think Lenny Lawrence has done that with Flinney at Newport, is like a director of football type guy who sort of sits there and advises, look, I don't want your job, I've had it, I've done it, I've done all that, right? But if you need to lean back and say, what do you think I should do here? Which they all need when they're young kids. You know, we've all been in a situation, so the young managers now, and it's like, what's wrong with, I bet Flinney leans on Lenny Lawrence. So there is, now, am I saying that because I'm 66? Probably. You know, but I do believe there is a niche for a director of football in football. You know, somebody who's not going to nick your job, can give you guarantees that you don't want the job, but when you're in trouble and you've lost 4 or 5 on the trot and you're a young guy and you're thinking, where do I go from here? Because 9 times out of 10, the young guy has a young guy as his assistant because it's his mate from where he's been or whatever. So it's like they don't know what to do because they've never been in that situation. Now, just think 900 odd games experience. Someone said, well, what would you do at this? Well, I'll tell you what, I'd do this, that and the other. Now, whether you take that or not is down to you. It's down to you as the manager. You know, and then it's not like, well, I told him to do that. You know, it's not that type of thing, but it's very difficult now to get back into football in any sort of role like that.
It can only be a good thing, surely, even for a younger manager, to be able to tap into that experience, to have it there.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's what annoys me a little bit. That, you know, even going scouting, you know, go and have a look at players, do this, that, and the other. I've spoke to 1 or 2 people over it and never come back to me on it. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're thinking, well, hold on a minute. And I bet you if I sent an email to every club in the Football League and say, you know, if you're looking for recruitment, blah, 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 would you bear me in mind? I bet I wouldn't get 2 replies out of that. I'd be very surprised if I did, because of the fear factor in football now as a manager. You know, they're walking with their backs to the wall, they're frightened to death to get stabbed in the back. And, you know, that's the way football is. And it's a shame, really, because, you know, you look at the young lads who've come in now, at Derby, at Rangers, you know, they're in there. I noticed that they don't take Tranmere or Crewe or whatever as their first game. It's great when someone comes to you and says, tell you what, how do you fancy looking after Rangers? Yeah. Well, you know, what a great opportunity for your first job as a manager, right?
There's only Sol Campbell in there, Mac.
Yeah, Sol Campbell.
Scholes probably an exception, isn't he?
Yeah, which is great, and that's why you'd like to see them do well.
Yeah,
you know, but
took a chance.
Yeah, they've taken a chance down there. But see, somewhere like Macclesfield, they probably can't afford to have a director of football. But why should a director of football be on big money anyway? You know, it's just a matter of, you're in here and I can lean on you. He'll need the help. Doesn't matter how good he's been as a player. It counts for nothing when you're actually in a hot seat, because that hot seat only gets hotter. You know, it doesn't get any cooler.
Yeah. Would you do exactly the same thing if you got a manager's job tomorrow? Would you change anything, or would you still go with the style that's worked for however long?
I think that, you know, if you had your time over and again at this the way it is at this, the way teams play now, because they're all on passing, aren't they? Everything now is pass.
Pass from the back.
If you go and watch under 23 game now, every game you go and watch, 2 full-backs bomb on, 2 centre-halves split wide, the older midfield players come for it and they play out. So if you haven't got good feet now as a goalkeeper, you're in trouble. But, you know, and every game you go and watch, that's the way they play.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to play it in the same way. So, you know, I've been happy with what I've done.
In terms of your man management and, say, example, getting beers on the bus, and would you do exactly the same thing? Which I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Do you mean from looking back on
yeah,
what I've done?
Because we've spoken
You're not
about
looking about being a manager now.
Yeah, if you went back in tomorrow.
Yeah. No,
Club tomorrow.
All those times they've changed now.
I know.
You know, so no, those go out the window. That way of being a manager and getting players on your side, you can't do that now. I don't think.
Why not though?
Because I think it's very difficult. I think you look back on the years when I first started, every team was doing that in the Football League. You know, now they're all athletes, if you like. They all tend to eat stuff. I mean, them days you had fish and chips on the way home. You know, you had burger, didn't you? I mean, now you know you don't get any of that.
But none of that means that you're going to win games.
Don't get me wrong. There are times when I think if you're actually warranted that you think the lads have done that well, then I think occasionally I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, driver, just pull in the next off licence or the next spar or the next co-op, pull in on the side and out. The only thing is you have your name on the bus, like, you know, whatever team you are, then they all get out and go in, and then they all come out with like cans of Carlin and it doesn't look right, does it?
I know, but if you're doing well, if you
get
as a manager,
results,
if you're getting the lads on side by doing stuff like that, surely nothing else matters. If you're going out on Saturday and winning,
then if you lose next week,
it'll all come down to.
Got a 4-2 on his floor.
That's what I mean. It depends where you are
to
in the league. You've got
results.
to trust yourself. You think that this works.
I think if you do it and you win when you've won, right? You do it, then the next game you do all right. Then I think the problem occurs then because directors and everything travel on the buses now. So in them days, they were very, very seldom you had the chairman and directors on the bus. Used to be the players, you know. But now you have directors travel with some of them. So you've got to be careful. Hold on a minute, the pisshead's here. Another one, look at that.
It doesn't even have to be the drink. Like, I know Warnock will give the lads 3 days off if they get a result. Just gets the lads on side. Right, lads, see you Tuesday.
We did that. We've done that. That's another great thing for players. I tell you what, we win today, lads. See you Tuesday. So it's a long weekend or whatever. So you come in Tuesday, run the ghoulies off them. Then they're off Wednesday.
You could do all the shape in the world, Monday, Tuesday, right the way through the week, but that won't compare before a game if the manager goes, right, lads, if we win today, you're off till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Lads will be through brick walls.
What do you do?
It shouldn't really be, but it's just
that's the way it is.
Thing.
It's a great lift for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think, tell you what, we win this 3 days off.
Yeah.
And if you win it, it's great. You know, but if you give them 3 days off, then you get beat on a Saturday. That's when sometimes a comeback comes from, well, they've not been in, they've been off for 3 days. What do you expect? So it's how brave you are as a manager.
Yeah, you've got to trust yourself, haven't you?
You've got the thing at Blackburn, didn't you?
It's how brave you are.
If you score, we'll see you Friday. He win every fucking Monday morning.
Couldn't resist, could he? Couldn't let an episode go by without mentioning it.
Well, Roddy, cheers.
Yeah, that was
thank you very
great
much. Enjoy that.
No problem.
I'll tell you what, if I could we'll give you one option now. We'll put a private investigator on it. You can find out, was the Ipswich call a hoax, or who wiped their arse on that towel? Which one you have?
I think I'll have the hoax. Just so I know.
Well, cheers, and if any local papers want to run another poll about who they want as the next manager,
you've got my
vote as well.
If you want to see my betting slips, they're all right. You can have a look at them. I've got them at home from the Football Association.
Who's the best manager in the Football League?
It's me, Ron. It's me, Ron.